Today's episode is going to be fun. We are creating 6 different projects for the springtime. Some things are going to be using Dollar Tree supplies, and there's a couple of thrifted found items that just needed a little bit of a makeover. It's amazing what you can do with white paint and some distressing. Welcome to my DIY channel. I'm Heidi Sambol. All right, friends, now let's get crafting. I saw a wreath online that had very similar things to these supplies. Some ribbon, a heart wreath form. This pick is from Walmart, as well as these other florals here. And then the greenery is a mixture of some stuff from Dollar Tree and Hobby Lobby. So we're going to start by taking our ribbon, and we're just basically going to create a base for everything to go into, because if you've ever worked with these wire forms before, they're kind of hard to make flowers glue on. It'll take forever to get things to stick. So the ribbon's going to give you something to jump off of. Now, my inspiration was a real wreath with real florals at a wedding reception, and I knew that we could make it with faux flowers and look just as beautiful and realistic. So we're going to add some greenery and some more greenery and some more greenery, and then we're going to come in with these beautiful soft pink florals. These flowers are from, again, Walmart. And we're going to just cut them down, tuck them in, and we're going for a very wispy, whimsical looking wreath like I saw in my inspiration. I want it to feel dainty. I want it to feel realistic. So make sure that you have lots of greenery to it and add in some of those wild flowers that have little pops of white and yellow. It is the most beautiful, soft, and just lovely overall wreath to hang up on a door anywhere in your home. When you're all done, add some twine to the back to be able to hang it up. This project's inspiration came from Home Depot, where I saw this really cute basket that was black and white stripe, and I knew that we could make it so much more affordable than what they were asking for the $40. So I picked up one of these floor mats or outdoor mats, rugs from the Dollar Tree, and then some rope. And I'm going to take a plate, and you can definitely make this bigger. You can see that you can use 2 mats to make an even bigger basket. I'm using a smaller one just to show you how to make it. So you're going to take a plate the size that you want, cut out a circle, and then put the plate to the side, and then you're going to decide how much you're going to need to be able to wrap around that circle base. Then you're going to go ahead and cut out with your scissors along that gridded line, and you're going to see that the mats from the Dollar Tree have these lines that are very easy to follow along. Cut out the length and the height that you would like, and then you're going to take your circle and you're going to glue it right onto that longer piece. And you're going to continue to add a nice amount of hot glue, making sure it's getting on both sides of the circle and casing it around that circle bottom. Now this part is so easy. It really just takes a little bit of time making sure that everything is drying. So be patient as you're holding it, making sure that everything is gluing properly so you don't have any weird bumps or any issues with it buckling on you later on down the road. The better you glue it, the better the basket will hold up. So here I am, I'm at the very end, and I'm just wrapping around that last little bit at the bottom, and you can see that I'm really holding things in place as I'm allowing it to dry. If you could hear the audio, you would hear me like blowing on it, trying to get it to dry quicker. So just make sure you take your time to allow it to really bond and dry well. Then up at the top, I went ahead and glued the sides together, and then I used some of these clamps from the Dollar Tree to be able to lock it into place and allow it to really dry nice and sturdy at the top. Now I decided to switch to a different rope because originally I thought, oh, it would be kind of cool to do brown, and then I really wanted to stick with that black and white look. So I pulled out some of my white nautical rope from the Dollar Tree. And the best part about this project is that the rope perfectly fits between the grooves on the mat. So I'm just allowing the rope to fall in between that divot down on the mat, and then you're going to see the black being perfectly spaced in between the white rope, so you can see the black and white stripe really well on this basket. Now you're going to just continue to go around and around, and on the back side you're going to have to bump up to the next layer. So on the back side of the mat you're going to see that there's a little bit of a wave to get up to the next layer as you keep wrapping. On the very bottom I went ahead and wrapped around to add some more sturdiness to the basket, and then I added on some handles, and I'm taking a couple of thin strips of the mat to conceal the seam of the inside of the handle to really clean up the look of it and to make it look more high end. And I'm going to just use a lot of hot glue on that to really bind it in there so that the handles are strong. And then I'm going to use my little clamps again from the Dollar Tree and clamp it down into place to allow it to really have a chance to dry and be strong and sturdy. And I did that on both sides of the handles, and after you're all done you can put whatever you want in this because it's actually waterproof on the inside with it being an outdoor mat. I personally think we saved so much money because instead of paying $40, I paid about $4 in my supplies. We are now going to take this little duck. I loved this little friend when I saw it on the shelf. I ended up getting it for $2.50. These are actually collectible items, and I know a lot of people are always looking for these because you can really transform them, or you can keep them as is. It depends on what your style of your home is. I took mine outside and I spray painted it with a flat white spray paint. And now we're going to come in and we're simply going to just dry brush on a dark brown. That's it. We are going to give this little duck a whole new life. And if you love ducks like I do, or birds of any kind, I love bird decor in my home. If you do love it as much as I do, you're going to now start hunting down these ducks. So you can see that I light brushed over its back feathers, and then the chest had really fine scratching through the detailing of it. So I came on first with a heavier dark brown, wiped off the majority of that, and then I came back in and kept feathering it on very lightly until I got all of those grooves to show through. I did want to keep it a little bit darker right underneath the duck's neck because that added a lot of depth and texture to the duck. And then the bill of the duck, his beak, I also kept that looking a little bit darker as well. So just keep playing with it, feathering on your paint until you get it to that concrete, beautiful look that is very trendy in Farmhouse right now. If you are enjoying this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up. It always helps me out here on my channel. I love doing these free craft classes. I hope you enjoy them too, and giving that thumbs up lets me know that you are. For this next DIY, we're going to be using some of these books from the Dollar Tree. Friends, they sell these inspirational books for so much money. I hope that you have not purchased these when you can make them yourself. Start by picking up however many books you need for your inspirational word. Then with your craft knife, slit along where the book cover is and that first cover page. Now, depending on how rough you want it to be, sand off some of the extra, and then take some twine, wrap those books together, and tie it tight with a pretty bow on it, or a knot, whichever you prefer. Once you're all done getting your bow tied on there, at this point you can put whatever you want on these books. Your family name, a beautiful word to inspire. It's completely up to you. Or you can even leave them blank, and they are just so pretty to be able to put out in your decor, and it's the easiest DIY that costs almost pennies. You can also use old books that you were planning on donating. I always recommend using a book that you are not planning on reading anymore, because once it goes in here, it's not coming out. Then this is where it gets even easier. If you have a Cricut machine or a Silhouette, you can obviously cut out some vinyl letters, but the Dollar Tree has some rub-on transfers, and all you have to do is cut out the letters you want, take them with a popsicle stick, place them on the book, rub them on, and you have the most beautiful DIY for hardly any money. Friends, again, if I could convince you, don't ever buy these. These are so affordable, and I know so many people buy these for home decor. When I saw this little farmhouse church, I was so giddy. I know I saw this at Hobby Lobby like a year ago, and they were selling this for close to 40 bucks. Even with the coupon, it still is not going to beat the price I spent on this, which was $3.50. So I definitely popped that into my shopping cart. And today we're going to start by just taking some painter's tape to preserve that rustic corrugated metal. It is going to shine when we paint this thing. I think the reason why it was probably donated was the green. It's a little bold of a color. If you're doing it for like Christmas, it's probably good, but if not, you'll see how I'm going to transform it in just a second. As I was putting the painter's tape on the awning over the front door of this little church, one of the staples came loose, so I just decided to pull the whole thing off. And then at that point, I took it outside, gave it a couple coats of spray paint, which was a flat white. And now I'm going to be dry brushing on a dark brown. You can see here that I'm really trying to get a lot of the paint off onto a paper towel, because the more the dry brush you have, the better it's going to have a nice aged look versus being too heavy with the paint. So now that I've got my paintbrush loaded, ready to go, I'm going to take off all of that painter's tape, and anywhere where you see the white bleed through on the corrugated metal, I'm going to come back in after I do all my dry brushing, and I'm going to touch up that paint. The other tip you can do, you can take a piece of sandpaper and sand off any of that excess paint. It'll come off really nicely, and then if you still want to touch it up with some brown paint, you can. So see, at this point, I'm already starting to come in, do some dry brushing on it, on the areas where hands would naturally touch, and then up underneath that corrugated metal where the white got, I went ahead and just touched that up to clean it all up. Friends, the white paint made this corrugated farmhouse rustic looking metal shine. It was so pretty. Once the white and the brown from the rooftop came together, I love it so much, and I bet you if it was white, the person probably would not have donated it. Now, at this point, I love using a staple gun. I think being a thrifter, you should always have a staple gun. It's amazing how many things you can bring home and fix by just using a staple gun. So I'm going to just staple back on that little awning above the little door of my church. And then to match the staples to the rustic look, I'm going to go ahead and just tap that with the brown paint to conceal those staples. And at this point, friends, oh my word, this little church, it just makes my heart so happy. I think it's so cute. And can you believe it? It was at Hobby Lobby. I saw it there. It saved so much money. Anyway, I hope you'll give this one a try and look for these cute little churches or wooden farmhouse buildings at your thrift store. If you enjoyed today's video, again, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Click the subscribe button if you're new or you're returning and haven't clicked it yet. And I'm going to recommend this video right here, linked at the end. If you enjoyed this one, you might enjoy this one as well. A lot of similar projects for springtime. Thanks so much for stopping by, and until the next episode, bye friends.